Congress must take action to rein in our government spending and more efficiently and responsibly spend our federal resources. I'm working hard in Congress to craft policy proposals that lower our spending and deficits. On the House Budget Committee, we introduced our budget resolution for fiscal year 2025. According to the Budget Committee majority, this resolution proposes no new taxes, grows the economy over 3 times faster than the debt, balances the budget in 10 years, and much more. We've also passed through committee common sense legislation that would require transparency to the American people about the state of our nation's finances so big government can be held accountable. It is an honor to bring Utah's sound fiscal policy to Washington, and I will continue to fight for the American family as we seek to give our children a better economic future. Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
September means it's time for Any Hour Services free furnace sale. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and as summer comes to a close and falls right around the corner, the weather gets, well, perfect. And when the weather's perfect, people need a little extra incentive to replace their heating and cooling system. That's where Any Hour Services free furnace sale comes in. For the month of September, when you have Any Hour Services install a new air conditioner, we'll give you a new furnace for just the cost to install it. About $400. The furnace is free, you just pay the labor. And there's no catch. There's no raising the price on the air conditioner first. There's no making you buy the most expensive air conditioner to qualify. There's none of that. There's just a desire to keep our technicians working while the weather's mild and a genuine appreciation of you for helping us keep them busy. So if you've been thinking about replacing your old furnace and air conditioner and want to know exactly how much you can save during our free furnace sale, call Any Hour Services today and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
The Utah RV Super Show, the premier RV event of the year, is back at the Mountain America Expo Center, Thursday, September 12th through Sunday, September 15th. Come see new 2025 models and special closeout pricing on all 2024 models. Bring a can of food for the Utah Food Bank and get $1 off per can, up to half off adult admission. Unplug from distractions and plug in to your family at the Utah RV Super Show. Discount passes at utahRVSupershow.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Heather Kelly.
We do have delays on US 89 northbound as you move from I-84 up to Harrison Boulevard. It's due to a disabled vehicle blocking the right lane and shoulder just before you get to Harrison Boulevard. And we've got a crash on I-80 westbound right after you leave the I-215 interchange before you get to the airport exit. It's blocking the left lane and shoulder. Traffic a bit slow getting through there. And we've had a new crash called out southbound I-15 up in the Layton area. This is right where the West Davis Highway merges onto southbound 15. We just haven't found it in the cameras and not a lot of delay right now. Durden's Appliance is offering Black Friday pricing now and no interest financing through 2026 on single appliance or whole kitchen packages on 5th South and Bountiful or DurdensAppliance.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Our sunny skies will stick around today and the rest of the weekend, but we'll also keep some high-level smoke. Highs reach the upper 80s today. Right now, 63 degrees and sunny. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Was not expecting to wake up and hear Amanda reporting that a big high school rivalry football game had been canceled tonight. And more so, the reason behind it is what stood out to me.
Losing the rivalry game, that is the worst game to lose. I would rather lose a playoff game than lose the rivalry game. So this is pretty devastating for the fans, but even more so for the players. It's 9:06. It's time for the launch.
Sequence engaged.
And here are 3 things that Debbie wants you to know.
Countdown. 3.
Vice President Kamala Harris sat down for her first kind of one-on-one or maybe one-on-two interview with CNN as a presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. VP picked Tim Walz right beside her for an unscripted interview. Kamala did most of the talking. At the end of it, I've got my takeaways, but at the end of it, I was like, I didn't think he needed to be there.
Why did he show up to the interview? was like 2 questions and then back to Kamala Harris. I thought it was an interesting interview in the sense that this is what we were waiting for. Like, this was what you were afraid to do, or this is what your team was afraid to put you out in front of. She did fine. Now, I think there are some interesting takeaways that we will continue to talk about, but yeah, sure. Tim Walz, yeah, he didn't need to be there at all.
Countdown to...
Well, we've probably all heard of workplace team building exercises. This is the epitome, in my view, of anti-team building. Got 15 colleagues setting out to summit a more than 14,000-foot mountain in Colorado. It's like, that's a major team building exercise there. But one employee gets left behind. His colleagues accused of leaving him to finish his final summit on his own. So the crazy thing, or weird twist in this story, Dave, is those colleagues are also accused of, as they're descending, picking up trail markings on their way down. So the lone employee gets lost, disoriented, caught in a storm, his cell phone dying. The rest of this office retreat gone awry story at 10:05.
Quite honestly, it sounds like he was abandoned and then they sabotaged him trying to get back down the mountain. Like, if this doesn't make you feel a little salty about team building exercises, I do want to talk about team building exercises. Are they necessary? Like, should we be gathering together and going on a hike up to the summit?
Not you and me, for
Not
sure.
you and me. We spent enough time together.
launch countdown 1.
Canceled. The Timpview Provo High rivalry football game called off. I'm sure there's a lot of students and players and parents and coaches who are just devastated by what has been unfolding in the Provo School District. The Timpview principal issuing a statement saying that hate and violence toward Provo's coaching staff and families and players was spewed on social media, and that it appears to have come from Timpview. So at 9:20, we expect that the Provo School District made arrangements to have them call the show and talk to us live about the decision to cancel, and if there's any information to let us know if the accused have yet been identified.
And if they do stay anonymous and this persists, do you cancel the next game and the next and the next? How far does this reach?
Dave and Dujanovic.
The launch.
Commence.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
Well, it was social media threats that canceled this big rivalry football game for tonight, Dave. The game is off, specifically between Timpview and Provo. And we have no word yet if it will be rescheduled. I'm curious to know your thoughts on this, Dave. You've been a coach at the high school level for girls softball. You're a dad. You've also covered sports as a television sports producer.
Yeah, quite honestly, I spent a huge majority of my career in sports covering high school events. In fact, I produced a show called Game Night Live. It's still going on here on KSL, which is 30 minutes exclusively on high school sports, specifically football and basketball. And let me tell you, I've been to 1 million of these rivalry games. We would purposely choose every single week. If there was a rivalry game, we were sending someone there because they're the most energetic, they're the most exciting, they're the most passionate games. And whether it's a blowout or a barn burner, we don't care because it is a rivalry game. So to flat out cancel the rivalry game, I cannot tell you how disappointed the fans are, but more importantly, the players and the coaches. Those players, those coaches, they've been doing 2-a-days in the August summer heat, preparing for this game. Everyone knows the players on the other side. You've been playing against them or with them for years on Little League teams. To cancel this game is so disappointing. I feel terribly for the football players.
It really highlights how anonymous social media posts, kind of at this point assuming that these were done more anonymously, although we're getting word that police are involved. And we'll get more of information on that from the Provo School District in just a moment. It can ruin opportunities for kids. And that's essentially what happened. Tonight was an opportunity to go out and have fun. This is a tradition that has now been put on hold or on ice until more information is figured out. And it concerns me. Like, if it's tonight's rivalry football game, what next football game or next event ends up getting canceled?
It's a great question because there's not a lot of football games, right? This isn't like Major League Baseball where there's 162 games, and if you cancel a game, every game is crucial and important in football.
Now, we don't have a ton of information, and again, we'll continue to ask questions about this, about exactly what these threats were. I do want to read through part of the statement, though, that we received from the principal at Timpview High. And so here's what we know. That it was hate and violence. And this looks like it started yesterday afternoon. And it was over social media stories is what's been highlighted. Over social media stories that spewed hate and violence toward Provo High School's coaching staff and their families, as well as their players. And then goes on to say, unfortunately, they appear to have come from Timpview. And that as a T-Bird community, we do not tolerate these behaviors under any circumstances. And then goes on to issue an apology, saying, I'm saddened that some of our Timpview community chose to make others feel unsafe and undermined a rivalry that should be healthy and beneficial in bringing all of us together.
And it is supposed to bring the community together. There's several layers to this of how it impacts the schools, the football teams, even other sports. I'll dive into a little bit more detail of why this is so impactful, not just for the players and not just for the fun, but how this financially impacts every team at that school.
Straight ahead, the Provo School District superintendent going on to say that police are involved in a separate statement that's been issued. So we'll ask the district next, live, if anybody's been identified and what went into the decision to cancel this rivalry football game.
Finally, Friday with Dave and Dujanovic. It's going to be a tumultuous election year.
I think that we're hitting a nerve. I think this is a different kind of a race.
I'm no stranger to unlikely journeys.
Get the fairest coverage from voices you trust. Tim and Amanda, mornings from 5 to 9. Conversation with Dave and Dujanovic at 9 and Boyd Matheson at 1. And on your drive home, get the latest and catch your breath with Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News at 3. It's hard to know what election year holds. We'll have you covered at KSL News Radio.
You've known Master Electrical Service since 1954, or that's quite a while. Maybe you weren't even born by then, but I certainly wasn't. But we do have some exciting news. Master Electrical Service has served Utah for so long. It's done such an incredible job with your electrical needs. But now they've joined Mountain Home Services, and that's some pretty big news, Deb.
Absolutely, because that means their services for you have expanded. Not only can you get all of your electrical needs met through the experts at Master Electrical Service, but now that they've joined Mountain Home Services, they can help you with your HVAC, your heating and air, your plumbing.
Yeah, and this is something that I have firsthand experience with. Mountain Home Services installed my furnace years ago, and then they've done the tune-ups every single year or every other year, something like that, and it's been humming along and kept us nice and toasty. Not that I'm concerned about nice and toasty right now. This summer has been brutally hot. But yeah, this is some one-stop shopping at Mountain Home Services.
Upfront pricing guaranteed. no hidden fees, and 100% satisfaction guaranteed.
Yeah, they're the company we trust, and so can you. Go ahead and visit Mountain Home Services at their website, mountainhomeutah.com. That's mountainhomeutah.com.
Or you can call them, 801-543-2222. Again, 801-543-2222.
Everyone on the road is trying to make it to their destination safely. You can help by staying aware of the large trucks and buses around you. They take longer to stop, have large blind spots, and make wide turns that require caution from other drivers. It takes all of us working together to share the road safely. Learn more at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov. Paid for by FMCSA.
What's better than one win? 3 wins. With Straight Savings, you keep your own phone, get one line for only $25 a month with real unlimited data, and get rewarded with a $200 phone credit after 12 months. It's a win-win-win. Head to Walmart or visit straighttalk.com today. Switch to Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Straight Savings Plan enrollment requires compatible unlocked device and new line of service. Bonus device credit requires 12 months of active service. Offer ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. Taxes and fees apply. For network management practices, see Straight Talk's terms and conditions.
Strike gold every day with Golden Rewards at Golden West Credit Union. Introducing the new Golden West Loyalty Program. Every member can enjoy the Gold Account, a free savings account with an impressive 6% annual percentage yield. You can fund your Gold Account in 4 ways. Opt in to round up your debit card purchases to the nearest dollar with Roundup Rewards. The extra change will automatically be deposited into your Gold Account. To add even more funds, your Visa Signature, Platinum Rebate, and Visa Rewards Cashback will be deposited directly into your high-yield Gold Account. The year-end Golden Bonus Dividend will be deposited into your Gold Account to earn even higher dividends. And take advantage of special promotional offers at Golden West, and we will deposit the cash reward, earning you even more. Your Gold Account savings will add up fast. Secure your free Gold Account at Golden West Credit Union today or online at gwcu.org. Member NCUA.
We'll take care of you.
It's me again. And of course, I'm at the annual fall extravaganza at J&J Garden Center in Layton. And what a great time to buy. Right now, all containerized trees, all shrubs, and all perennials are 20% off. You heard me right. J&J's entire inventory of containerized trees, shrubs, and perennials are 20% off their regular price. J&J Garden Center definitely has the best products at the best price and most definitely the best service too. But don't take my word for it. Come experience J&J Garden Center for yourself. Take advantage of their incredible fall tree, shrub, and perennial extravaganza. Take the Layton Parkway exit, Main Street to Gentile, then west 2 miles. You've got to see it to believe it. You really do.
Country grown to your home. J&J Garden Center.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Palmas. First, Vice President Kamala Harris says she'll appoint a Republican to her cabinet if she wins the presidency. Second, unhealthy air quality expected for this Labor Day weekend. Smoke from an Idaho wildfire continues moving south today. And third, Gas Buddy predicts the national average price of gas will be down this holiday weekend. AAA reports the average in Utah is $3.58. Right now, 63 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
Dave and I talking about the Provo High Timpview rivalry football game that was canceled for tonight. And so far, what we know is that the district is saying that there was, and the principal specifically at Timpview saying there was hate and violence spewed toward Provo, and it appears to have come from Timpview. And this was posted on a social media site, specifically social media stories.
And this happens all the time. I've been to a million football games, and kids say some awful things and terrible things. Sometimes they get caught. Sometimes the administration will come in and take a kid out of the stands that's being inappropriate. I've seen this firsthand. The social media element that's something that happens as well. Like, kids bully each other all the time on social media. So I would like to know specifically, what was it that was seen that escalated it to saying we need to cancel this entire game?
The superintendent layering more information on with her statement, saying, "I'm disappointed and disheartened to see a high school rivalry devolve into this type of vitriol and hatred. Social media's emboldened us as we believe we can hide behind anonymity or a digital face." Then adding, I want to assure you that we are working closely with the Provo City Police Department to ensure that appropriate consequences are carried out for those involved.
And we've seen pauses in rivalries before here in Utah. In fact, BYU and Utah, both the football team and the basketball team, have taken pauses because coaches have felt like the rivalry was getting too heated and they needed to bring it down a notch. So to cancel this rivalry game, this is the best game of the year. My heart's broken for the players and the coaches that have worked so hard, that have looked forward to this game. Many of the seniors now will never have their rivalry game, and that's a huge disappointment.
I know you've had some more thoughts on this that you want to add to this conversation, including the perhaps trickle-down or mushroom effect that this could have beyond tonight's rivalry game. But I want to bring in Caleb Price, who's the communications director at the Provo School District. Good morning, Caleb.
Good morning.
Let's start with, can you give us any indication at all of what was said in those posts, and if those posts were, for example, on Instagram?
Yeah, as far as the details of that, right now the investigation is still ongoing, so we can't get into too much detail about what the posts actually were. But I believe that they were on Instagram and possibly some other social media platforms, and directed at that Provo High football team and community.
Were they coming from somebody's or a student's private account, or was this coming from an anonymous random account?
I believe that's part of the investigation, trying to figure out exactly who it came from and identify the people that were involved. Part of the situation is that the investigation did begin relatively close to the game being played, and so part of the decision to cancel a game involved the fact that the investigation is still ongoing. We don't know everything yet.
How was the district alerted to the posts? Did somebody, like a student, happen to see and pass it along, or did somebody at the district spot him?
Yeah, I don't know exactly who it was, but somebody saw that and notified administration, I believe at Provo High, and that got to the district level from there.
It was obviously concerning enough to cancel this football game, and this is a huge football game, a rivalry game, a game that the players and coaches have prepared for a long time and look forward to as much as any game all season long. Were there other, I guess, reactions, maybe less harsh than canceling the game that had been discussed? And why was canceling the entire game the best decision ultimately?
I believe all options were considered. I think it came down to the fact that the investigation was not completed. We don't know all the information and all the details of who was involved and what that meant. And so just on the err on the side of safety and to allow the investigation to be completed, the decision was made to cancel the game for this year.
So just to be clear, was there a direct threat or a concern that at that game something could happen, or was this more punishment for the bad behavior?
I don't know the specifics of the threat, and I can't get into that with the investigation going on, but they were direct threats towards members of the Provo High football community. What they specifically said might happen or could be done, I don't know that information, but they were direct enough to cause concern.
I know the superintendent issued the statement that said the Provo Police Department was involved, Caleb. And by the way, we're speaking with Caleb Price. He's the communications director at Provo School District about the cancellation of the Timpview Provo High rivalry football game tonight. And with Provo PD involved, and then the principal saying that these social media posts appear to have come from Timpview. Is there an indication that students at Timpview were involved in this point?
That's still part of the investigation, is trying to figure out who all was involved. I think we know that there were people involved from the Timpview side of the rivalry, and so we're working with the police department and with the schools to continue to identify who exactly that was and what roles each person might have played in that.
And this game has been canceled for the entire season. This won't be made up?
Yeah, at this point, there's no plans to make up the game later in the year.
Caleb Price, thank you for joining us, Communications Director at Provo School District. And Debbie, just let me go back to the impact on the players. Many of these senior players, maybe this was their only opportunity or chance to actually play in a rivalry game, and that is just devastating on a personal level. Let me talk about, just briefly, the impact on the school as a whole. What many people don't realize is football is the biggest moneymaker in the entire school. Like, you will bring in tens of thousands of dollars into the football program, and then the football program helps subsidize all the other sports. I know when I was the softball coach, we would get a few $1,000s for the softball team. That was coming directly from the ticket sales from football, because football did so well and they were generous enough to share with the other teams. By losing this rivalry game, which is the single biggest moneymaker of the season, this is not just a sad time for the players, but it's a financial hit for the rest of the school.
You were asking Caleb Price from the Provo District just moments ago about like what went into this decision, and could there have been an alternative choice that was considered. Are you thinking play the game anyway without fans around?
I would have loved to have seen that. If the players were not the perpetrators, if they weren't the ones to blame, if the coaches weren't the ones to blame, and it was just bad fan behavior, I don't understand punishing the team who possibly did nothing wrong. You could have just emptied the stadium and said, listen, no fans for this game. That is your punishment, but we're not going to punish the players. We're not going to deprive them of the opportunity to play a game they've been waiting all year for.
So let's take your live phone calls, because I think you want to know from listeners if they agree with you, Dave.
Is it good to just drop the hammer and send such a massive statement, cancel the game altogether, or would you rather, like I would like to have seen, play the game without the fans? 801-575-TALK. Give us a call right now. Should they have just played the game and booted the fans, close the gates, let the players play the game without the fans? 801-575-TALK.
It's 9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top local story this hour. Well, we just got word that the Utah Department of Natural Resources has caught and euthanized the cougar that had been wandering around town in Lehigh. This animal found late last night off 2100 North at a construction company site. The Environmental Protection Agency is giving the University of Utah $6.5 million to help low-income schools reduce indoor air pollution. Nancy Dahr, the associate professor from the Division of Occupational Environmental Health at the U, says they'll help the schools develop plans to improve indoor air quality as well as reducing greenhouse gas emissions.
To really address this, we're using a mix of approaches where we're combining measurements of air pollutants both inside and outside the school, combining that with energy efficiency audits of the school buildings and computer simulation.
And they'll work with about 30 schools over the next 5 years starting this fall. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Millions will be traveling this holiday weekend, and AAA's Janet Tidwell says roads are expected to be busier than the skies.
Typically with any holiday, 85 to 90% of travelers go by car. It's the most convenient and likely the most cost-effective for a family.
And AAA says domestic bookings up 9% this Labor Day. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down now on the day, 108 points. The NASDAQ is up by 17. And our KSL weather, sunshine through the Labor Day weekend. That's next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
It's a priority for us at this station to bring you all sides of a story and to talk about the news fairly, completely.
Get all the facts and be really aware. Utah's Morning News with us, Tim and Amanda.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Hey, BYU football fans, come visit your local Macy's grocery store for all your tailgating needs. Macy's has great prices on all of your favorite game day items, like burger patties, made fresh dips, and more. Did you know that your favorite tailgate foods are also now offered through Macy's Catering? Macy's offers a wide variety of catering platters, from smoked meats to wings and even desserts. Catering is available to order online at Macys.com or in store. So, whether you're having a small or large party, Macy's has you covered. Never miss a deal when you sign up for the rewards program and emails to get the digital ad sent straight to your inbox each week. Come visit your local Macy's grocery store for all of your tailgating needs. Get game day ready with Macy's. Happy shopping.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
Well, what other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we don't say two birds with one stone. We say two damages with one deductible. With us, if your home and auto are both damaged in one storm, you only pay one deductible. And we should probably stop using stones for that sort of thing anyway. Talk to a Farm Bureau Financial Services agent about our one deductible advantage at fbfs.com/protect. It's your future. Let's protect it. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agricultural Insurance Company.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Heather Kelly.
Our biggest problem right now along the Wasatch Front is a disabled vehicle on US 89. It's northbound just before you get to the Harrison Boulevard turnoff in South Ogden. It's blocking the right lane and shoulder. That has traffic backed up all the way to I-84. So that's taking a good 10 extra minutes to just go a mile or so through that stretch of roadway. If you're southbound I-15, things look great coming out of Davis County. No delays northbound from Utah County into downtown. And the last of the crash westbound I-80 near the airport has just been cleaned up. Business owners, let GoPave Utah tackle your uneven parking lot asphalt and concrete surfaces with their crack seal and repaving services. See what GoPave can do for you at gopavutah.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Our sunny skies stick around today and the rest of the weekend, but so will the patchy smoke. Our highs reach the upper 80s today. And right now, 66 degrees with sunny skies. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
But tonight's high school football rivalry game between Provo and Timpview canceled. Will not be rescheduled. That's the word that we just got from the Provo School District. And the reason for this cancellation, if you're just joining us, is because they discovered that there was some hate and violence, in the words of the principal at Timpview, spewed toward Provo's coaching staff and also family members and as well as Provo's players. And unfortunately, the principal goes on to say that it appears to have come from Timpview.
And part of what makes me so sad about this is now the players are missing out on one of the highlights of their senior year. The football players, the rivalry game, it's the best part of their football season. And to cancel it, I'm asking, was that the right move? Because, and we're taking your phone calls, 801-575-TALK. And I think we actually have a father on the line of one of the football players. I'd love to, before I start giving my opinions, I want to find out from David, who's in Provo, what your thoughts are on this, David. Do you have a player or a son that plays on the team?
Yeah, good morning. I do have a son who's a varsity senior player on the team.
Which team?
On Timpview.
Okay, so what's your reaction to the cancellation tonight?
This is my opinion, does not reflect the school or the team, but I think, first of all, it's just devastating. I know my son is devastated. I know many of these boys are devastated. I know them personally. I've had the opportunity to coach many of them when they were younger, and they're good boys. They're devastated. They've looked forward to this for, the whole year and their whole high school experience, this varsity rivalry game. It's crushing for them. It's crushing for me. I played at Timpview. The community's devastated. My younger children are devastated. They wanted to see this game happen.
We haven't been able to get a lot of specifics. We talked to the school district, and they're saying it's still under investigation. But were there any other things proposed? Like, could they have played the game and perhaps not let the fans come in to give the boys that opportunity? Had you heard any of those discussions?
From my understanding, no. I wasn't aware of any of that. I know that they're going to be sending out further communication today with the parents and whatnot. What I do know, and a lot of this I'm receiving from, my player and some of the other players that I've spoken to, that they were on the way on the bus, from my understanding, to go play the JV game yesterday when they canceled that and turned the bus around. Last night, the team met, and they were in discussion of what would happen next. They thought the game would go forward tonight, and then it was canceled late last night. So I don't know if there was further discussion of alternatives. My opinion is I would say let this game go forward. Let the boys have this opportunity. There should be repercussions. These things, there should be consequences, especially for whoever made this comment. We don't know who made the comment. It was an anonymous comment. It just got things snowballed. And for me to see 100 boys on both teams robbed of this opportunity, of the fans, the cheerleaders, the bands that have prepared for this game, there's a lot of people involved that are now affected because of this.
David, did you see any of the posts, or did the boys that you were talking to, did they have screenshots of the posts?
I did see the post originally. I did not see, from my understanding, it was comments to that post. And the kind of snowballed. Those comments got worse and worse. I did not see those comments. I saw the post when it was first made, and it was just kind of a rivalry thing, and it was probably a little inappropriate, and those things should be dealt with. But from my understanding, this is because of some specific comments to that post.
And David, I just want to let our listeners know, if you're tuning in, we're talking to David. He is a parent. His son plays on the Timpview football team. The Provo-Timpview rivalry football game has been canceled for tonight due to what's been characterized as threats on social media. And the district had told us that those were Instagram posts. Is that what you saw as well?
Yes.
And it was on Instagram stories?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Well, we really appreciate you sharing this much information with us. Would you mind just holding the line so our producer can chat with you for a minute? David, like to exchange phone numbers with you so we can keep in contact with you throughout the day. So thanks for calling the show.
And he really spoke to what I was feeling in my gut, that this would be devastating to the players. And to punish the players for the bad behavior of fans, I think is a mistake.
And I want to point out, too, a new detail that we just heard here is that the JV team was en route on the bus when this all started to unfold. And then there was a meeting after to figure out what was going to happen. And then they thought the game was going to happen. And then, of course, it got canceled late last night.
Let's hear from Dan in Salt Lake City. Dan, what do you think?
Well, I agree with you, Dave. It's the wrong kind of action because you're sending the message, maybe the people who wanted to disrupt the game or cause, a side event, and you're giving the wrong attention to the wrong people instead of rewarding those that have prepared for the game. It would be like hearing there's going to be a road rage incident, so we close the freeway, and everybody else pays the penalty except for the 2 or 3 people that were going to cause the incident. And I think you totally focus on the wrong kind of perspective. You encourage more of this in the future. People think, oh, I can get away with getting the game canceled or my circumstances spotlighted by me being the disruptor, instead of being able to penalize the people and single out the people that are causing disruption for the rest of the world.
Thanks so much, Dan. Appreciate it. Let's get to Todd and Hiram because, Todd, it looks like you're agreeing with canceling it.
I am, because if you don't, then you just play the game, you're still rewarding all the fans and their poor behavior. So it's along the same lines as the Taylor Swift concert. The last commenter had said that you're rewarding the disruptor, but you're actually preventing problems from coming on, and you're letting them know that there are consequences. And the kids can go home and have the same conversation with the parents and the fans that caused it, because they'll know who it is. It'll turn up.
Todd, thank you for the phone call, and thanks everybody for the phone call. My hope would be that even if I understand, like if there is a direct threat, absolutely you should cancel it, turn it around. After the investigation, if there is a possibility to maybe make this game up later on in the season, maybe if that is a possibility, give these kids a chance. If you have to do it without fans in the stands, let these football players have that opportunity. It's one of the highlights of their entire football season. But yeah, definitely a sad story for the football players. I feel bad for them.
It's finally Friday with Dave and Dujanovic.
I want to tell you guys about my experience with Salt Lake City fat loss. Now, sometimes when we're trying to lose weight, and it's harder at different times of your life, if you're feeling ready to tackle this and join a program, let me tell you, Salt Lake City Fat Loss told me that they had the secret to losing up to a pound of fat every day. Many clients will lose 20 to 30 pounds in a month or two. I lost 25 pounds in just 3 weeks. Now, results vary, but let me tell you, when I was paying for the program, and yeah, I did. I paid for the program like you guys as well. It kept me honest, and I think that was an important part of it. I've tried to lose weight in the past, and after a week or two, I'd get frustrated or bored, or I would justify a little cheat meal here or there, and I wouldn't see those huge results. But when I lost 57 pounds in 60 days with Salt Lake City Fat Loss, that kind of incredible success helped keep me motivated. I did it without surgery, without injections, and you can too. Go ahead and go to slcfatloss.com to schedule your free consultation. If you use my name, you're going to get an extra $200 off the program. Just go to slcfatloss.com.
At KSL News Radio, we have a 30-year legacy of honoring Utah teachers, but we can't do it without your help. Please tell us about an important teacher in your life on the KSL Teacher Tribute Wall, presented by Cypress Credit Union. Each month, one lucky teacher wins a $500 gift card from Cypress Credit Union, a $250 gift card to Harmon's, plus season tickets to Hale Center Theater. Say thanks to your teacher today at kslnewsradio.com/teacher from Cypress Credit Union and KSL News Radio.
Hey, this is Dan the Laptop Man from PC Laptops. Myth. You might have heard that you need to spend a fortune these days to get a powerful computer. Correction. At PC Laptops, we wanted to prove that wrong. So here's the most amazing deal that we've ever done at PC Laptops for you in over 30 years. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else do you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Take one home today. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited, because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
I know this is a silly question, but wouldn't you like to have more money in your savings account?
Sure.
UCCU wants to help you do that with some high-rate savings options with yields up to 5.25%.
So you can supercharge your savings. Take that money that you have sitting in a savings account, transfer it to UCCU, and make more money on your money.
They have incredibly high yields on money market savings accounts and short-term savings certificates. We've talked about that before, but if you've forgotten a savings certificate, you just make one deposit up front and then let your money grow over a fixed period of time. And they've got them laid out for 3 months, 6 months, even 12 months.
Or 5 years, whatever works for you. And if you need immediate access to your money, UCCU's Money Market will give you a high yield and anytime access.
So if you've got your money in a savings account at a different lending institution, transfer it over and start earning more on your money today with yields up to 5.25%.
Get a true financial advocate, one that's always outperforming the average rates of Utah banks.
Go to uccu.com. You're going to love where you bank.
None of these 7 people scored the winning touchdown in last year's championship game. None have gone into space or gone on tour with Taylor Swift. Yet 7 special people in the community deserve your attention. And September 7th at the Utah Valley Convention Center, starting at 6 p.m., you can give it to them. Join Community Action Services and Food Bank in celebrating the contributions of 7 extraordinary members of the community. Then see the premiere of the Food and More store, a pop-up giving experience you can only experience at this event. Plus, you'll have the chance to peek inside their new mobile food pantry. Dinner, live music, entertainment. Get details now on how you can be a part of this exceptional community night. Visit casfb.org and learn more about the evening, the individuals being honored, and how to be there to take it all in. casfb.org. Community Action Services and Food Bank, providing food and more to neighbors in need in Wasatch, Summit, and Utah counties.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bonas. First, the Transportation Department says the rate of flight cancellations this year is below pre-pandemic levels. So far today, no canceled flights into or out of Salt Lake City. Second, a new skate park opening today in West Jordan, the West Jordan Wheels Park, designed for skaters of all ages. And third, online threats against Provo High School's coaches, players, and families led to the cancellation of the rivalry game between Provo and Timpview. 66 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. America's top political story. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
Vice President Kamala Harris sitting down for her first interview as the Democratic nominee with CNN. And VP pick Tim Walz also joined her for an unscripted interview. I'll just my hot take was I didn't think he needed to be there when they announced he was going to be there, and then I kind of proved myself right as I watched it. Yeah, I didn't think he needed to be there.
In fact, he probably had the biggest stumbles of the entire interview when he was asked about his military service, when he was asked about his DUI. He was asked very specific questions, and he had kind of these very evasive answers. I thought he was the most distracting part of the interview. I agree. I didn't think he needed to be there. Basically, all I wanted to hear was from Vice President Kamala Harris, and that's largely what the interview was. There was just a couple questions for Tim Walz.
My overarching kind of umbrella takeaway is she didn't mess anything up, and she played it safe. There wasn't any major gaffe that I thought, oh, well, that'll be a social media meme in 5 minutes. But I will also say there was still some vagueness as I watched. Like, I just was longing for more information. For example, CNN anchor Dana Bash asking Harris what she would do on her first day in office. And I thought, oh, that's one, like, that's a softball on a tee, right? Go ahead and hit that one out of the park. I do this, I do this, I do this, and I do this. There's 4 things. There's 5 things. Give me the list. And instead, I think it took her a while to kind of drill down on specifics, although she did say, I'll be fighting for the middle class.
Well, there are a number of things. I will tell you, first and foremost, one of my highest priorities is to do what we can to support and strengthen the middle class. When I look at the aspirations, the goals, the ambitions of the American people, I think that people are ready for a new way forward.
Adam Gardner of KSL at Night joins us right now, a political insider. I think I agree with you, Deb. You know, here's the softball on a tee, take a big old hat, hit a home run, and then it kind of came out a little bit meandering, a little bit low energy. Adam, what did you think of the interview? This was the first major one-on-one, well, I guess one-on-two interview that she's given since she's been the nominee.
My first big concern, I agree with you, Debbie. Why on earth was Tim Walz there? And when the campaign was asked, like, why he was there, they responded before the interview and said, oh, this is tradition. It happens all the time. Every candidate has done that with their vice president. Yes, that's true, but it's on their 28th interview, their 50th interview. It's not their first. So that was a little weird. I was concerned that he would be there just to jump in and kind of criticize Dana Bash and any of her hard-hitting questions. Luckily for the team, there were no hard-hitting questions. And anytime Dana Bash was like approaching a really hard-hitting question, she would give 3 or 4 opportunities in phrasing her question for Kamala Harris to, one, think about how she was going to answer and take one of Dana Bash's, softball on a tee, as you said. And so I didn't think it was very hard-hitting. Dana Bash did not push back on anything, really. My biggest concern was when she was asked, what are you going to do on day one? I'm going to fight for the middle class. What does that mean? She didn't expound. The only policy position she laid out in that answer is we are going to fight to extend the child tax credit, $6,000 for the first year of the child's life, so you can buy a crib and diapers and other things. Great. And she seemed like she was running against an incumbent. We've had such a hard time with Donald Trump. Sure, make that argument. I'm okay with that. But she didn't really say how she was going to be super different than Donald Trump. She just kept saying it's going to be a new day. On day one, we're going to fight to get the prices of groceries down. Well, arguably, the price of groceries are high because of how much you and President Biden spent. So tell us how you're going to distance yourself there. She didn't really explain any of that, and that was kind of concerning.
As you were saying, Dana Bash not pushing back, one of the interactions I thought there was probably the most awkward part of the interview was when Dana Bash was asking her about Trump's criticism about Kamala Harris's race. Let me play a little bit of that interaction for you.
About is what he said last month. He suggested that you happened to turn black recently for political purposes, questioning a core part of your identity.
Yeah.
And
same old tired playbook. Next question, please.
That's it?
That's it.
I've always thought the next question answer is a cop-out. I don't like it at all. And I'm not saying that race should be at the forefront of the conversation. Kamala Harris has a mother that is Indian, her dad that is Jamaican. I don't know why that would matter, but the question was asked, and instead of saying, yeah, I'm proud of my heritage, or whatever answer she wanted to give, it was just next question. I thought that was kind of an awkward part of the interview.
I also thought it was a missed opportunity to go after Donald Trump. I think a better answer would have been to play, like you said, to describe how proud she was of her heritage and there are millions of Americans just like me, and I'm happy to be one of them representing them. She also missed that opportunity to go after Trump and say, I mean, even if it was just like fleeting, like Donald Trump made a racist comment, News at 11. This is nothing new from this guy. And I don't want to talk about racism in this issue or in this campaign. I don't want to talk about race in this campaign. I don't think it should be an issue. I don't know why he's making race such an issue in this campaign. But put the onus on him and make him have to respond to that. And it would keep that in the news cycle of him kind of looking like an idiot. And she didn't take full advantage of that. I thought that was kind of a missed opportunity.
We have such little time, but I want to get this in because this was like the one moment I thought, that I was surprised by this answer.
Yes, I would.
Anyone
in
mind?
I would. No one in particular in mind. We got 68 days to go.
And she's responding to Dana Bash's
but
question if she would put a Republican on her cabinet, and she's like, yeah, I would. And she didn't hesitate, Adam.
I thought it was a smart answer. It's not going to get her in trouble. It's going to make her look bipartisan. And I'm going to say something not controversial here. She is not a bipartisan person. She was the most liberal member of the United States Senate, and that's okay. That's her politics. She's very progressive. But she does not work across the aisle, and the Biden administration did not really work across the aisle. So we have no evidence of that. I would have loved to see Dana Bash say, can you give us some instances of where you've worked across the aisle to make policy changes in the United States? Something like that. I would have loved a little more pushback in showing that she's bipartisan. She couldn't even come up with one Republican's name, and I thought that was unfortunate.
Adam Gardner, thank you for joining us, KSL at Night host and a political insider. Thanks for joining us, Adam.
Yeah, appreciate it. Straight ahead, you've heard of workplace team building, right, Dave?
Oh, yeah. I've participated in many a team building exercise.
Nothing like this.
This is the one.
Nothing. This is really, I think this is the epitome of an anti-team building exercise. It involves 15 colleagues who set out to summit a 14,000-foot mountain in Colorado. But one guy got left behind.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. Online threats against coaches, players, and families led to the cancellation of one of Utah's biggest high school rivalry football games. We get the details from KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff.
Administrators aren't saying exactly what the threats were, but they were enough to cancel tonight's game between the Provo Bulldogs and the Timpview Thunderbirds. The athletic director at Timpview tells KSLSports.com this game will not be made up this year.
A letter from the Provo City School District Superintendent says she's disappointed and disheartened to see a rivalry devolve into this kind of vitriol and hatred. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. NHL superstar Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew were killed in New Jersey last night after being struck by a car while cycling. That driver suspected of DWI. Gaudreau's team, the Columbus Blue Jackets, issued a statement saying Johnny played the game with great joy, which was felt by everyone that saw him on the ice. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down on the day right now, 120 points, while the NASDAQ is up by about 21. And our KSL weather, sunshine, but we've got some smoke as well. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
Here's a way to get breaking news updates anywhere you go.
At the store or in a work meeting, you can get breaking news on your phone.
You can quickly read it, swipe, or click for more. It's super discreet, super fast.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
It's happening at pharmacies all across America. Older Americans keep asking, where are the lower prices on prescription drugs Joe Biden and Kamala Harris keep taking credit for? First, Harris cast the deciding vote for the Inflation Reduction Act, promising to lower drug prices. Then the Biden-Harris administration used the money from Medicare to bankroll their liberal green agenda. That's right. Instead of savings, seniors got a 20% premium increase, restrictions on access to medicine, and fewer cures. Now, liberals want to expand this Biden-Harris scheme that is already hurting seniors. Thankfully, Congressman Blake Moore has always fought to protect Medicare drug coverage. Call him at 202-224-3121. Urge him to keep fighting for affordable drug coverage by opposing H.R. 4895. Paid for by Seniors for Better Care.
Hey, I'm Jake Harward, and I'm a farmer, and I'm out in our fields on our family farm in Springville, checking our now-in-season corn, tomatoes, peaches, and more that we pick and deliver fresh daily to our now-open familiar green Harward Farms roadside stands. Check online at harwardfarms.com for a list of our locations all over Utah and Salt Lake counties, as well as locations in Heber, Mount Pleasant, Ephraim, Nephi, Delta, and Tooele. Come share in the bountiest harvest from our hard work in our fields, fresh from our family's farm to your family's dinner table.
Harward Farms. For the right repair and the right paint, the right choice is manufacturer-certified Martins Collision Repair. Hi, I'm Tiago Martins, and few have met the rigorous certification by Kia, Ford, Infiniti, Chrysler, Jeep, Nissan, Hyundai, and many others. But it's one more reason that Martins is your right choice. Check online at martinscollision.com. On State Street in Orem and in Salem, we work with all insurance companies.
The right repair, the right paint, the right choice. Martins Collision Repair.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Heather Kelly.
Well, drivers in Davis County are still going to have delays trying to get up into Weber County. This is using US 89 northbound from I-84 up to the Harrison Boulevard intersection. It's due to a disabled vehicle blocking the right lane and shoulder, so only one left lane getting through there. It's taking an extra 10 to 15 minutes to make just a couple-mile commute. And then if you are on I-80 eastbound, you already have delays firmly in place between Kimball Junction and the US 40 turnoff, and things will just get more congested as the day wears on as people move into their holiday travel plans. Advanced Window Products offer Graber window coverings, high-end quality with the best warranty. Save 30% off when you mention KSL. AdvancedWindows.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Sunny today with a high of 87. Then we're back into the 90s for the weekend. Wildfire smoke thicker in northern Utah, but we'll also see yellow air quality conditions for the Wasatch Front. And right now, 70 degrees with sunshine. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
We've all probably heard of workplace team building, where a bunch of employees get together and do an activity so they can bond. Well, this story that we are about to talk about, with the help of ABC News, it's been reporting on this, to me is the epitome of anti-team building.
It's the worst team building exercise I've ever heard.
A worker on an office hiking retreat, according to ABC, into a national forest. I mean, does that not spell like trouble? We're all going to hike into the national forest. But wait, there's more. One worker had to be rescued after 14 of his colleagues allegedly left him stranded on a 14,230-foot mountain.
What?
There's
nearly
so
3
many
miles in the air.
There's so many details to this. I'm gonna go into detail after detail. It is, to me, I'm like, there are 202 reasons that I would have quit on the spot, except for, I guess, the hope that maybe my fellow employees would have sent help.
At some point, you've got to be like, hey, where's Debbie? Has anyone seen Debbie? We haven't seen her for 6 hours.
But wait, there's so much more.
I love this story.
Yeah.
Wait, because it's a train wreck. Go ahead. Let's get all the details.
So actually, the county search and rescue team in Colorado said, quote, "In what might cause some awkward encounters at the office in the coming days and weeks, one member of their party was left to complete his final summit push alone." Wow. So initial reports to the county's communications center said that a group of 15 hikers on an office retreat had left a trailhead at sunrise, and this is last Friday morning, with a group completing summit attempts and a separate group ascending to another area. And while 14 employees made it down the mountain safely, one was left to complete the summit push alone. So they turn around to descend, and they're like, I'm just summarizing, I don't know the exact communication, like, you just go ahead and finish that on your own.
And this is not an easy, casual day hike, right? This is a pretty aggressive hike that takes a number of hours, it looks like. So, yeah, the idea, rule number one when you're hiking is the buddy system. I don't know if they just missed any level of Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, anything. You should always hike, buddy system. So I don't know why in the world they thought, yeah, buddy, just go on up. Go ahead.
Rule number one, why are you out hiking in the forest? I mean, what's wrong with a team-building exercise at Dave & Buster's playing some video games together?
An escape room or something.
Having a little lunch. Yeah. Go ahead. We're going to do a team-building exercise into the National Forest, and we're going to summit almost 15,000 feet. So then the story goes on to say the lone employee makes it to the summit at 11:30 in the morning. But when he tries to descend, he becomes disoriented. Now, keep in mind, the rest of his team is gone. So it makes matters worse, and I want you to listen to this. His colleagues descended the mountain ahead of him, inexplicably collecting belongings left in the boulder field to mark the path down. So this lone employee's initial attempts to descend, he finds himself in a steep boulder area in a field on one of the slopes, and he's disoriented.
I will tell you right now, if they are removing cairns, cairns are rocks that are stacked on top of each other. They clearly point to you when you're hiking that this is the path, this is the way. That is sabotage. That is absolutely inexcusable if they are taking away markers to help keep you on the path, because whenever I'm hiking, I 100% have to have the cairns because I don't have a great sense of direction. I can get turned around a little bit. I have to have those things.
Well, personally, I'd be crying at this point. I mean, I'd feel abandoned. I'd feel sad. I'd feel humiliated, and I would have probably fallen a number of times by now. So they haven't released the name of the company or the man yet, but they do say that he was using his cell phone to pin drop his location to coworkers who let him know, so helpful, that he was on the wrong route, and they instructed him to hike back to the summit and get to the correct trail to find his way down. And then now, remember, they left at sunrise, and then just before 4 p.m. on Friday, he sends another location pin drop to his colleagues that he was near the correct trail. And then shortly after that message, you know what happens. Of course, a strong storm passes through the area with freezing rain and high winds, and he becomes disoriented. And by the way, he loses his cell phone signal at this point.
I'm just dying for this guy right now. I feel so horribly. I cannot imagine how 14 other adults can think that this is on any level appropriate.
Here's what the ABC News is reporting. When his colleagues didn't hear from him, they reported him missing to the county search and rescue team at 9 p.m., 8.5 hours after he'd started his descent.
He had hit the summit before noon, and they call search and rescue at 9 o'clock at night.
And then they send up a chopper. They can't locate him. And then, to make things worse, he apparently dressed in all black clothing, according to the news article. And he spent the night stranded on the mountain. And then rescue teams continue to search for him into Saturday morning. And then they bring other teams in to help. And he manages to get his cell phone service back on Saturday morning, and he's able to call 911 and tell him where he's at. And then they were able to find him. They found him in a gully near a drainage creek, and they took him to the hospital. And, this is the best part of the story. He was listed in stable condition at the hospital. That's the best part. How many times would you have sent in your resignation with that pin drop, right? But for the fact that I need you to help me right now, get me a search and rescue team because I'm disoriented, I'm losing cell service, freezing rain is starting to drop upon me and the national forest. Please help, please help, please help. I would resign.
No. He shouldn't resign. Everybody else should be fired. Or at the very least, this guy, you get to walk into a wide open office. You've got the corner office at this time, buddy, because 14 other colleagues are not going to be invited back on Monday.
So I was just like, why? What would possess people to do something? I would never leave a coworker behind like that. You and I have never summited a mountain together, nor will we ever in our life, but I wouldn't leave you behind.
You wouldn't leave.
No, I'd be like, get in the car, right? I hope you do the same for me. I know sometimes you get frustrated with me and stuff like that, but you would tell me to get in the car. Let's go.
This is not just, hey, I walked out on a lunch. Right? This is leaving somebody stranded. And this is 14,230 feet up. How in the world can this happen? And when we're talking about team building, and maybe let's have this conversation with our listeners right now, is how do you feel about team building? Because I've participated in several team building exercises. I've done overnight travel vacations with the team. I've done just like an escape room. I've done it several times. How do you feel about team building exercises? Are they effective? Do you like them? Or are they kind of a disaster that you roll your eyes at? 801-575-TALK. How do you feel about team building? Are you in love with it or do you despise it? I'm going to be honest. I am anti-team building. Are you with me? 801-575. Anti-team building Dave. 801-575-TALK.
It's finally Friday with Dave and Dujanovic.
There in the distance, someone must have checked the wham. Oh, hold up, and abandoned plans for the good times. Where forgotten roads take lost lives to beautiful kids on the coast.
The Cougars are back in the business of rivalry.
We have TCU and Baylor, but at the top is Utah and BYU.
The big time in the Big 12 just got bigger.
The Cougars win it! The Cougars win it! And here come the fans!
Just one day to the season kickoff. BYU, Southern Illinois. Listen to Cougar Tracks for updates each day. 7:55 in the morning and 5:55 in the afternoon on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio.
Looking for a beautiful and functional upgrade to your home? 3 Day Blinds has you covered. At 3 Day Blinds, our free in-home design consultation makes it easy. A 3 Day Blinds design expert will help you find the window treatment solution that works best for your home's needs and style. We bring the showroom to you with loads of samples giving you an idea of how different fabrics look in your home. Your designer also provides expert measurements and helps coordinate installation. Book your free in-home consultation by visiting 3dayblinds.com. Take control of your window treatments with Motorized by 3-Day Blinds. Whether you're at home or on vacation, you can operate your window treatments with the touch of a button using the 3-Day Blinds app. 3-Day Blinds has specialized in window treatments for more than 40 years, and it's the name people trust. At 3-Day Blinds, we have stylish and functional window treatments for any occasion. For your free custom same-day quote, schedule your free in-home design consultation now at 3dayblinds.com. That's 3dayblinds.com.
Well, it's the movie show, guys. Andy Farnsworth and Steve Sales. Today's show will be coming live from NPS in Salt Lake City at 1600 South Empire Road. It is already a bustling metropolis of activity because the doors opened at 10 o'clock, and sure enough, a line of people with carts halfway through the parking lot. Julie, every day.
It's great.
Every day.
It's
You know, I
great.
want to
It's
ask
fun.
them when they're out there, like, what are you here for?
Yeah, we want to know what the thing that they're going to go for so we can try to run faster than them and check it
Well,
out
they
first.
all have certain areas that they go.
They do.
So, yeah.
And that's because you can find deals of 20 to 70% off the retail price of brand new items. And then when you walk in the store, you could see a yellow sign up that says an additional percentage off of what those already low prices are today. I know I saw when I walked in, there was another 50% off of dresses, I wanted to say.
Oh, that's your favorite.
Well, and you know what? It's great because it's homecoming and, all those type of things. And we've sorted them out. We have some beautiful dresses.
I always look immediately at the clothing when I walk in because this is the best place to restock your wardrobe, whether it's back to school, whether it's for a school dance, for anything. Why pay full price when you can get the exact same name brand item for 20 to 70, sometimes 75%? When it's all said and done with all the discounts added in, you're paying a quarter of this, and you can see the original price on the tag of what you would have paid somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's part of the fun of it, is seeing the savings as you pick it out.
Yes, go home and see how much you saved.
Now, one of the cool things about when we come to NPS, Julie, is that you guys have movie show specials, so we're going to save those.
Yes.
Because Igor is around right now gathering.
He is busy.
Oh, you tease.
Movie show only specials. But come in and check it out. Even if you don't buy the movie show specials, you're going to find something that you didn't know you needed when you come to NPS. And you'll definitely find some of the things that you did know that you need.
That's right.
Especially on the grocery side.
Yes. Come in, and we are so thankful that you're here today. You guys always make our day.
We love you guys so much.
Well, you've got locations in Salt Lake, Davis, and Utah counties. In Utah County, it's 475 North State in Orem, 1150 North Main in Layton. Or come say hi to us at the movie show at 1600 South Empire Road in Salt Lake City at NPS.
Lowe's knows saving pros time and money means getting the job done easier. Right now, save 10% on Georgia Pacific vinyl siding panels. Plus, save an additional 20% when you buy in bulk. And get free same-day delivery to the job site when you order by 2 p.m. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Offer valid through 9/4. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Right now at Wendy's, you can get a small Frosty for $1. And literally everyone is going. The car behind you, going to get a $1 Frosty. The car ahead of you, already had one, going for a second. The person who cut you off earlier, you guessed it, $1 Frosty. Maybe it's all a sign for you to go get one. Just don't cut anyone off. No one likes that person. The iconic Frosty for $1, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Not valid in a combo. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, California, and via third-party delivery.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, the annual football game between Provo High School and Timpview would have been the highlight of the season until it was canceled because of threats on social media. Second, the man they called Johnny Hockey has been killed by a suspected drunk driver near his home in New Jersey, along with his brother. And third, the University of Utah working on ways to clean up the air inside schools. 70 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
David Dujanovic.
Well, this is an office retreat gone south. We're talking about this guy. They were 15, coworkers go out on a workplace building exercise. It's just not something like an escape room or you all go to a theme park together. They chose this national forest in Colorado and a 14,230-foot mountain to summit. And it turns out, according to ABC News, that 14 folks descended the mountain and they left, allegedly, one of their coworkers to finish the summit on his own. And he ended up being rescued by search and rescue teams the next day. Weather turned. It was freezing, cold. He was disoriented, lost cell service. Thankfully, the best part of the story is he was in stable condition after they rescued him.
Well, think how potentially dangerous this is. You're 14,000 feet in the top of a mountain. You're wet. The storm blows through. And now you've got to spend overnight. Even though it's summertime, that's going to be cold up in those mountains.
And you wanted our listeners to weigh in on what they think in general about team building exercises. But before we get to the phone calls at 801-575-TALK, and you got, wow, I was walking Dave through this story a few minutes ago, and you all were lighting up our text line at 57500. Would love to put you live on the radio right now. So if you've been lighting up our text line on this, saying like, wow, that's horrible. One guy said, hey, no matter how much I disliked my coworker, I would never do that to them.
No, and 14 of them did that to him.
The added layer to this is that the 14 who descended are accused of also picking up the trail markings or belongings that marked the path down. And
like the help me sign. The SOS.
And then they're accused of not reporting him to 911 or calling 911 until 9 p.m. Now, keep in mind, they set out to summit this mountain at 6 o'clock at sunrise. So this man had been hiking for 15 hours when they finally called search and rescue.
Yeah, it's a brutal story. So how do you feel about team building exercises? I've been pretty clear. I am anti-team building exercises. I don't want to summit the 14,230 feet with anybody, no less my coworkers. Ashley, what do you think in Holiday?
Hi. Team building is really important to me. In my experience, it helps workplaces and schools and churches be happier and more effective. But it means a lot of different things. And team building exercises, I usually find manipulative and uncomfortable. Even office social events can feel that way. What works for me is when the group is doing something positive together, and the team building comes as a natural consequence of that, but it's not the point of it. So, for example, an office service project or a school play or, some project where you're learning and growing together and getting to know each other. As a consequence, that's just a natural part of something else good that you're doing together.
I like that. That's a really insightful thought. Thanks, Ashley. Thanks for calling. I do feel sometimes like the team building, and I've done this several times. I've been a part of several team building exercises. It does feel a little bit like mom is setting up a play date, and you're 25 years old. You're like, we're going to get together and we're going to have a great time. Maybe it's the size and the scope of the team building exercise that is the problem. If it's just getting together for a lunch or having a little office party, that's one thing. But if we're summiting a 14,000-foot mountain, that is very serious. And then to not take care of each other, that is the worst team building exercise in history.
I just want to also say about hiking and doing those as team building exercises as somebody who occasionally hikes and gets outdoors. I've not been in huge trouble, nothing like this man found himself in, but I've been out there before where I've been in the elements a little too late and that kind of thing. Everybody has their own level of ability when it comes to this type of team building. I don't know if they were all on, an equal playing field when they set out at 6 o'clock in the morning to summit that 14,000 peak.
Mount Shavano.
But Mount Shivana. What did you say?
Mount
Oh yeah, that's
Shivana.
the name of it. Yeah, but he gets disoriented, and if for some reason, and he gets disoriented after. But if for some reason somebody is having a difficult time, which who wouldn't be having a difficult time in that situation? You got the altitude, you got the exertion. We learned that he got boxed in by freezing rain. So obviously the cold weather can zap people. I mean, you don't know what they're wearing, if they're all wearing appropriate hiking gear. Why would you, I mean, I don't know. Maybe this company has a really great explanation. We don't know the name of the company for why they would pick that. But it sounded to me like when I read this the first time, I'm like, that's a recipe for disaster. That's just an absolute recipe for disaster with that many people who all work together. If like, I don't know, Dave, if you and I went and played a baseball game, you would probably smack a line drive right back at my face and I would likely strike out. But if you and I are going to go, like, let's say on a 5-mile run, I might be able to beat you to the finish line.
Oh, easy.
You know what I mean?
No, you would definitely have to slow things down to a walk.
Which one would you prefer? You're going to prefer the baseball game,
Yeah.
but I'm going to be like, I'm not playing a baseball game against that guy. I mean, the minute I throw the slow pitch softball his way, my face is gone. That just doesn't. So I think that's kind of team building. I think to Ashley's point, you're doing community events. Or, like I said, what's wrong with a little trip over to the video games over at Dave & Buster's and you all sit down, like just by example, or an escape room or something like that?
I like the team building that is more organic. So, for example, I would prefer if you're a leader where you encourage everyone individually, hey, reach out to a coworker, get to know them, take them out to lunch. That's something that we could do versus organizing the play date. Because
the play date.
It's a play date. Let's be honest.
Funny.
Team building is just an adult play date, and we feel weird calling it an adult play date, so we call it team building. But I think it is important to build a team in some relationships outside of just the business, right? That I can see great value in that. But I think it's got to be encouraged more organically. Reach out, get to know your coworkers, maybe do something if you can. But I think there's a lot of times when we're on team building exercises that you're looking at your watch thinking, oh man, what time does this thing end? How long do I have to stay? And then
overnight,
jet out.
If you're this guy, you have to stay overnight on a mountain, surviving freezing rain and no cell signal. Thankfully, he got a cell signal and was able to call 911 and send, 911 operators a pin for his location. This could have ended so horribly. I mean, it already is bad enough. It's bad enough. But I just, the worst.
I saw in an article in Forbes, the ugly truth about team building, and then in Harvard Business Review, stop wasting money on team building.
It's 10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bonas. KSL's top local story this hour. We have word now that the Utah Department of Natural Resources has caught and euthanized the cougar that had been wandering around a neighborhood in Lehigh. It was found late last night off 2100 North at a construction company site there. Rangers at Zion National Park asking people to be patient and check the forecast before they head there for the holiday weekend. Ranger Charlie Reed says temperatures could be in the triple digits in southern Utah. There could be some thunderstorms.
There is always a potential for flash flooding in Zion National Park, so we do encourage everybody to check the flood potential.
Reed says they'll do their best to help everyone visiting the park this weekend have a good experience over the holiday. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. There's a pause in the fighting in Gaza to allow children to be vaccinated for polio. The situation for many children there, though, is still dire. There's no clean water in Gaza. Organizations trying to help children there say there needs to be an end to the fighting. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down on the day, 147 points right now. The NASDAQ is up by about 14. And our KSL weather. We've got sunshine through the weekend, even with a little wildfire smoke. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:31. News
News doesn't just mean information or dates.
It's the story of our local history being told in real time.
Be a part of the story. This is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
We hope to be a part of your story. We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Hey, BYU football fans, come visit your local Macy's grocery store for all your tailgating needs. Macy's has great prices on all of your favorite game day items, like burger patties, made fresh dips, and more. Did you know that your favorite tailgate foods are also now offered through Macy's Catering? Macy's offers a wide variety of catering platters, from smoked meats to wings and even desserts. Catering is available to order online at Macys.com or in store. So, whether you're having a small or large party, Macy's has you covered. Never miss a deal when you sign up for the rewards program and emails to get the digital ad sent straight to your inbox each week. Come visit your local Macy's grocery store for all of your tailgating needs. Get game day ready with Macy's. Happy shopping.
Well, it's Andy Farnsworth and Steve Sales, the movie show. We are going to be live at NPS in Salt Lake City, 1600 South Empire Road. Very easy to get to off of 21st South, off of Redwood, off of 215. Just come in and say hi to us because there's deals going on here at NPS. And first of all, if people who, sailed on ships back in the day, if they stopped at NPS before they left today, they wouldn't get scurvy because I'm looking at limes, I'm looking at lemons.
I'm like, where the heck is he
I had
going?
a really long-winded analogy to get to that point. But, Julie,
yes.
what have you got for us here today?
We
Produce
have-
deals, grocery is so good at NPS.
Yes, we have great produce. So our avocados are 3 for $1.
Okay, that's like ridiculous.
That's like,
I mean,
they're usually $1 a piece, at least.
3 years ago, they were like $5 a piece.
Oh, well, that
yeah,
was...
come get them because they will go fast. Our lemons, and these are big lemons.
Oh, yes.
These are 5 for $1.
I actually thought that was a plastic lemon, like the ones that you put out for decoration.
They look.
That's how good they look.
That beautiful, huh? And then the limes are 3 for $1.
Oh.
So if you need limes, avocados, or lemons, this is the place.
It's still summer through the weekend, right? Because technically summer ends at Labor Day, and so you can make some fresh lemonade this weekend for when you get together.
Yeah.
Or
That's
take
a
it on
good
your
idea.
camps or wherever people go. You know what? If you're going out of town for the weekend for this last camping weekend, stop at NPS, get all your snacks, all your treats for camping here. You can, I already saw somebody in with like a whole grocery cart full of snacks, and I said, that guy has the right idea.
And, well, when we have chips and, guacamole, be great.
Oh, that's right. You can make fresh guac with those avocados.
Guacamole.
We'll have more deals that are movie show specials at NPS. Now, every store, Julie, one of the cool things is every NPS store has a store-specific deal. So even if you go to the one in Layton, they'll have a different deal than you do here at Salt Lake, different than the one in Orem. So,
and we have the industrial across the street.
They have their own store deals, too.
Yeah, and they have some great things.
Yes.
And if you've never been to NPS or if you haven't been recently, come in. They've got a little thing right as you come in the door, a QR code. You scan it with your phone. It pulls up all the specials on your phone so you can just go right to the things that you want to save the most on.
Well, look at you getting 21st century.
I know. We're getting there slow but sure.
So come to any of the 4 NPS locations, 1600 South Empire Road in Salt Lake, 1150 North Main in Layton, or 475 North State in Orem.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Heather Kelly.
There's no delays right now anywhere across the Wasatch Front on I-15, the east or west side belt routes, 201 freeway. No accidents reported either. And the earlier stalled vehicle on US 89 in South Ogden has cleared, so those delays cleared out. But we're seeing more and more traffic as each hour goes on as people are getting ready for their holiday trips. The Utah RV Super Show is back September 12th through 15th at Mountain America Expo Center. Unplug from distractions and plug into your family at the Utah RV Super Show. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Sunny with a high of 87 today, back into the 90s for the weekend, and wildfire smoke thicker in northern Utah, but we'll also see yellow air quality conditions for the Wasatch Front. And right now, we're at 72 degrees with sunny skies. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
I always know that college football is back, not because I'm carefully monitoring, who's playing whom and where, but because there's a big smile on Dave's face. And that's not just because the temperatures are dropping. That's because BYU is going back to the gridiron. And we've also got, of course, Big 12 football kicking off this week, so he's been extra happy, which means that KSL's sports show, First and 12, is returning for the second year. That's awesome.
Alex Carey joins us right now, host of KSL's First and 12. Alex, very, very exciting. What can you tell us about the college football season and what you guys have planned and lined up?
First of all, I already know why Dave has got a smile on his face, Debbie. It's because he gets to watch all the games, and he doesn't have to stay up till 1:30 at night anymore on Saturday nights. And he can just be at home, and he can chill out. He's living the dream right here.
He's spoiled. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, the rest of us watch sports for a living, so I'm not gonna complain too much. But yes, it is. It's a phenomenal time of year. It's a ton of anticipation, and I think that's half of it, right? Like, I mean, we get so jacked up for whatever game is in front of us. I mean, it was a terrible game up at Utah last night. Not a great game at all. But you know what we saw? Cam Rising throw 5 touchdowns in the first half. We see a blowout. Football's back. It has all the things that we love, except for the part where it wasn't really, a great matchup. But that's what you get at the beginning of the year a lot of times. And so we're anticipating it's the shrug emoji for me about what the Big 12 is going to be. I have no idea what it's going to present this year. And that's why the beginning of the season is so fun, because fans haven't figured out if their team is good or not. And we can guess all we want, but it all comes down to these games this weekend. Well,
I can't help thinking about BYU and Utah, because for so long, when I was growing up, when you were growing up, BYU Utah is one of the premier rivalries in the entire country. And when they separated from the Mountain West and Utah went to the Pac-12 and BYU goes independent, they tried to keep playing the games, and then there were years they wouldn't play the games. To be in the same conference, what does that mean? Is there a buzz and excitement, or is it like, BYU is just another team that we play in our conference?
Well, that's the stuff you say, Dave. You know that. Like, that's the things that those guys all say. And the reality is that it's something way, way, way more important than that. Independence was weird for BYU. I mean, there were certainly good years. It was just such a weird place to be floating out there and trying to make your own future. And now that they're together, you have a different, subset of fans who are excited about the game. The normal people, who I like to call the normal people, which none of us are for sports fans, but like the ones who are like, hey, that's a great game and it should be on the calendar. You should love rivalry and history on a calendar of football that actually means something on the conference table too. And so, that game being back, but then there's this weird group of people who are like, well, BYU's not even that big of a game for us. It's that Oklahoma State game down in Stillwater, Oklahoma. It's like, are you kidding? Like, what history do you have with the Cowboys? Yeah, it's going to be a team you got to beat, but we've gone back and forth, and there have been a couple players. We were sitting down with Brant Keithy, who came back, and he scored 3 touchdowns already back in his first game back after a year of being injured, almost 2. And he came on with us earlier before the season started, and he's like, yeah, I didn't grow up here, so that probably doesn't mean that much to me, but. And you knew he was lying. Like, you knew he was lying. And
you could see it in his eyeballs.
Oh, my gosh. And sitting next to him was Junior Tafuna, who, grew up here. And he looked at him, and Junior's one of the best defensive linemen in the entire country. And he looks over at Brant, and he's like, I don't know. I think it's a pretty big game still. And so, I mean, and both of those guys, by the way, lost to BYU in 2021 down in Provo. And so, in the same breath, Brant was like, yeah, I wish we could get him down there at their place, but we've definitely got some stuff planned up. And I'll tell you, one of the people who cannot wait to get at BYU is Caleb Lohner, who played basketball at BYU, played basketball at Baylor, transferred to Utah, is now on the football team, caught a freaking touchdown last night. Last night's game had everything, every storyline you could imagine in it.
Alex Carey is the host of KSL's First and 12 with Mitch Harper. What are some of the big games that you're watching right now? This
weekend's kind of funny because you have a lot of FCS opponents, and you have a lot of you're not lining up against like the toughest of opponents this weekend. But we knew that Colorado, who already played their first game, we knew that game last night against North Dakota State was going to be a tough one. I mean, North Dakota State, for anybody who knows, and South Dakota State, if you have a Dakota State in your name, you're dang good at football. And they were, I think that they were single point underdogs going into that game. And Deion Sanders and that whole freaking storyline of the clown situation going on there in Boulder is playing out exactly like we thought. It's not a great team, and they almost lost it. They got a couple favorable calls last night, but obviously the biggest ones this weekend. And even outside of the Big 12 for us, like we keep our eyes so firmly planted in Logan too, to see what's going on up at Utah State after their coach got dismissed during the offseason and see what Nate Dreiling can do. But obviously Saturday down in Provo, Southern Illinois, no one knows who's going to be starting at quarterback except for the offense. And I'm interested to see if Kalani will actually reveal it before the game during his pregame discussion, or if he'll even wait for the kickoff and then see who breaks the huddle. I love that kind of stuff. I hope he keeps it. I hope that they have a sheet over the person until the first snap. That's how much I love this kind of like secrecy stuff.
Hey, you guys always forget to mention ASU.
Oh yeah.
Hello.
Well, you want to know what's great about ASU this year, Debbie? It's
Yes.
one of the only teams that is picked below BYU in the Big 12 on the tables of the Big 12 in the preseason. So I mean, I don't want to dog the Sun Devils because I think that Kenny Dillingham's going to be an awesome coach, but he's cleaning up a massive mess that Herm Edwards left. So yeah, ASU's in, Utah's in, Colorado's in, Arizona's in. Those are great additions to the Big 12. Every single one of them for all different reasons, and so. It's big boy football, and we get all excited for this weekend. The matchups aren't great on paper, but it's freaking football, and it's back, and that's the most important
exciting.
thing.
It is exciting. All right, where can we listen to your show and when there, Alex?
Let me see here. So we actually simulcast. We put this on the KSL Sports Zone on 97.5 on Sundays from 10 to noon, and then of course you can stay dialed right here 10 to noon. Also, right at the same time, it plays from 10 to noon on KSL News Radio. So. Keep it dialed up. And Mitch is obviously the BYU insider. We cover all things Big 12 though. We'll have sound. We have a ton of fun. More fun than we should have after we had just watched 24 hours straight of football.
Alex Carey, thanks for joining us. Best of luck this season as you guys cover the Big 12 that has 16 teams. Go figure.
That's awesome. I look forward to your show on Sunday, you guys. Thanks so much, Alex. Straight ahead. The movie guys joining us. Here's the question of the week. Like, what's that one line from a movie you've repeated for like 100 years? Well, I'm just going to, spoiler alert, here's mine.
You're going the wrong way! He says we're going the wrong way.
Oh, he's drunk. How would he know where we're going?
Yeah, how would he know? Thank you. Thanks a lot. Terrific.
Thank you.
Finally, Friday. With Dave and Dujanovic.
And waste another year.
It's the movie show, guys. Andy Farnsworth and Steve Sales. We are live at NPS, a nice place to save. The location we're broadcasting from today. Come say hi to us. Join the many, many other KSL listeners who've come by and said, hey, I'm listening to you guys. We're at 1600 South Empire Road. It's on the west side of Salt Lake City. And NPS is, it's not a warehouse store, although it kind of looks like you're in a warehouse when you walk in. But, boy, is it changing. Steve, I just checked out. They have redone a couple of the areas. Ooh. Looks so good. There's the one where the real big discount on the groceries.
Yeah.
The stuff where it's like, here's this. It's almost giving away, but get it at your own risk. This particular part used to be kind of hard to get through.
Random, yeah.
Oh, it's so nice now. As they continue to make improvements here, it looks so good.
Yeah. I noticed they have men's tops over here. That was a little weird. But
men have tops?
Men's
Don't
tops.
they call those shirts?
I would think so, but at least they're all shirts. I thought, well, what is this?
Retail items at NPS, if you're unfamiliar, are 20 to 70% off their retail price at their original store or locations. But here at NPS, they're 20 to 70% off and they're still brand new, still have the tags on. This is new merchandise that you get for a fraction of other locations. The reason they can do this is because they've assisted other businesses with overstock, refused, unclaimed, damaged merchandise. The outer packaging is damaged, but the stuff inside is still good. And it grows from there, and now they've got everybody gets the same incredible prices. And we've got some movie show specials, Steve. What do we got here today? This is the grocery side of things, and this is a great way to save money.
Well, I see one that got your attention, Ben & Jerry's. Well, I guess that we can mention the name, huh?
I hope so.
25% off their pint ice cream. We have ice cream sandwiches, 25% off. Selected salad dressings, 25% off.
Your gallon of ranch. They got the double thing again.
I can't even get through half of one of those yet. Selected candy, 25% off.
I think that Igor does that just for us on the movie show.
And Tide, the big thing of Tide at $9.99.
Yeah. Plus, don't forget avocados, 3 for $1.
Yeah.
3 for $1. Limes and oranges.
No, that's a lemon.
I'm sorry, you're right. Limes and lemons.
Giant lemons. These are like Abbey normal lemons. 5 for $1.
5 for $1. Come to NPS. There are 4 locations. 2 in Salt Lake at 1600 South Empire Road, 1 in Layton at 1150 North Main, and 1 in Orem at 475 North State.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up! And call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery on select smart beds when you add any base. Ends Labor Day. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Join KSL Saturday from 11 to 1 for the biggest hot tub and swim spa Labor Day parking lot sale at Hot Tub Factory Outlet in Draper next to Cowabunga Bay, 12101 Factory Outlet Drive.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 in the morning, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, that cougar that was wandering around a neighborhood in Lehigh has been caught and euthanized. Second, the Park Service expects a super busy weekend at Zion National Park. And third, there's a break in the fighting in Gaza to allow kids to be vaccinated against polio, but it's still a tough situation for families. 72 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
David Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
But before we get to the movie, guys, we want to just bring you up to date on a story that was developing this morning and throughout our show, and that is that the Provo High Timpview High School rivalry football game for tonight has been canceled. There were some threats that have said to have been made over Instagram, and as a result of that, the Provo School District has decided to cancel the game. We spoke earlier today to Caleb Price, the communications director, about kind of giving us a little bit of information about what went on with those threats.
They were direct threats towards members of the Provo High football community. What they specifically said might happen or could be done, I don't know that information, but they were direct enough to cause concern.
Now, if there is a direct threat, I have absolutely no problem, right, with canceling the game. If it was a vague threat, if there is no immediate danger, I feel bad that they cancel the entire game because of the actions of perhaps some overly rambunctious or even mean fans. The high school football players, the seniors on the team, they're missing out on the best game of the season. And we talked to a dad, his name's David, who says that he has a son that plays for the Timpview team. He says the team is devastated, missing out on this opportunity. And I wonder if the intention was good, but the reaction was overboard.
I just want to give, if you're just tuning in, I just want to give you a few more details. And, of course, we're following this right here at KSL News Radio throughout the day. And that is, we learned that the game will not be rescheduled. That was the information that we found out this morning. And we've also learned through information that was provided from the superintendent that the Provo Police Department is involved in the investigation. And that's where things stand right now. So Timpview Provo High rivalry football game canceled for tonight. And we also found out that they learned about this yesterday, at least the JV team. We learned this from Father David, who called in. The JV team found out as they were heading over they found out as they were heading over yesterday on a bus from Timpview to Provo, I believe, or was it Provo to Timpview? They were on a bus, and then they found out about these threats, and they just determined throughout the night that this game then needed to be canceled.
Yeah, and they turned that bus around, that JV bus, and they didn't play the JV game. They've canceled the senior game, and there's a lot of impact not only on the players, but this is a huge moneymaker for the schools. So when the football team hosts, especially a rivalry game, they probably will make more money in that game than any other game, and those ticket sales help fund the rest of the sporting program in the entire school. So there's not only an emotional aspect to this, but there's a financial aspect to it as well.
And one more detail that I'll give you right now, and of course, as I said, tune in throughout the day right here at KSL News Radio. We'll keep you updated. The principal issuing a statement saying that unfortunately, and this is the principal at Timpview High, saying unfortunately the hate and the violence that was spewed on social media appears to have come from Timpview.
The following preview has been rated G and is appropriate for all audiences.
All right, Steve and Andy, join us right now getting ready for the movie show.
Are we really rated G? Wow.
Well, I mean, it's a hard G. A soft PG, a hard G, though, for sure. Yeah,
like an angry G. I got it.
All right, what do we got coming up this week?
Well, the big movie this week is Reagan.
Is it?
A bio, well, actually, it previews yesterday. Afraid made a little bit more in previews than Reagan did. Just a little bit. But it's going to be Deadpool and Wolverine that's going to pull in the biggest money this weekend.
Yeah, although we do have a good one, you got to believe.
Yeah, Dave, you love baseball movies, right?
Oh, I love baseball
We've
movies.
got a new one that's actually based on a true story about the team that made it to the 2002 Little League World Series.
And this movie so desperately wants to be Sandlot, it even has Ham in it.
Stop it. Ham is Ham a coach?
No.
Well, he's only in it for a little bit. It's more of a cameo from Ham.
He's a businessman who's looking for somebody to coach the Little League team that might go to the World Series.
Oh, I love it. Okay, I'm a sucker for a baseball movie. I will watch any baseball movie. It barely has to be good. I still liked For Love of the Game with Kevin Costner and Kelly Preston. That movie was terrible, but I still liked it.
Yeah, this
baseball
one
lends itself so well to cinema, I think.
Oh, and this has a father-son dynamic that's going to just turn you inside out.
That's what I say, Dave. This one has all the earmarks of a Dave Noriega classic.
And it's a cheese
rated
ball
PG.
deluxe.
It's family-friendly, everything.
I want all the cheese.
You're going to get cheese.
Oh, yeah, I want nacho cheese all over the place.
But the big movie is actually that we're going to talk
right.
about is Reagan, and it is got Dennis Quaid as Ronald Reagan.
I'm sorry, did you say Dennis Quaid?
I said Dennis Quaid. And hey, you know what? I read your online review, Steve. I thought he got into that role pretty good.
Well, eventually I thought he did, but
it was weird though. They smoothed out all the wrinkles in his face a little bit to de-age him for playing Ronald Reagan in the 1940s, and then they let his natural wrinkles come back in as Reagan aged up towards the 1980s.
Yeah, he looked like Reagan when he was on the horse across the field about a mile away.
Stop. But you get the pompadour, and then you look like Reagan.
Yeah, but when he did the lines like, "Oh, there you go again."
And it was the movie was kind of Reagan's greatest hits all through the years.
That's exactly what it was.
And so this is not in your review online, Steve. I noticed you compared it to the Reagans, the miniseries, which I didn't see that one.
Yeah.
But I mean, Reagan was the first president that I remember in my lifetime.
But they had James Brolin. At least he looked like him.
I don't know. I thought Quaid did. Penelope Ann Miller played Nancy Reagan.
She was great.
So here's the thing. If you're a fan of Reagan, you're going to love this movie. If you're not a fan of Reagan, I don't know if it's going to convince you to be a fan of Reagan.
Well, the reason they made this is because the first one, the series was horrible. And the guy goes, I can't let this stand. I got to do a real Reagan movie. Well, this is closer to that, but this is no Lincoln or a Patton. Sorry.
Well, maybe we just need a few more
two
years.
of the great movies of all time. And it almost felt like that was kind of the hope, is that you would have like a Lincoln-esque or Patton-type biopic.
Well, but everybody loves Lincoln and everybody loves Patton. Reagan's already divisive still to people of this generation. So maybe this movie in 10 or 15 years is looked at different than it is right now. That's kind of what I think.
Well, all right.
Okay.
I'll look forward to your reviews. I also love your question of the week.
Yeah, what do you think? I thought you were going to say it.
Yeah,
But our
Deb,
question of the week is
what she's having.
What is that line from a movie that you always end up saying in real life? Even if it doesn't make sense to anybody around you, you always say this line.
Here it is.
You're going the wrong way!
Do you see that a lot, Deb?
He says we're going the wrong way!
I say it all the time.
You go to England a lot?
How would he know where we're going?
Every wrong turn she
how
makes,
would he
you're
know?
going the wrong way.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
I'm like,
Terrific.
So what we're saying, Debbie, is to let you drive so that we never hear you say that to us.
Yeah, that's a good
I
idea.
just love that line. I love that movie. I could watch that movie 1,000 times and never be sick of it. How about you guys?
Well, Dave's got to have one. Dave's got to have one.
I am racking my brain right now. You
Oh,
put me on pressure. I've got
Stop
so many.
it.
My
be
brother
back.
and I can barely communicate without one-liners from movies, and choosing one is like, which child do you love the best, Dave?
All right. Well, I'll tell you what mine is, and it's every time my kids are like, I want this, and I turn around, and do you have that one queued up, Corey? Ivana? It's from Austin Powers.
Not have that.
We're not seeing it
Unbelievable.
here,
But
but
I'll
here's-
do it. I say it out loud. I turn around with a British accent. I go, and I've on a toilet made out of solid gold, but it's not in the cards, baby.
All right. All right.
brother.
You win. Okay, you guys got to take it from here because we got to go for the weekend. In fact, you guys are up next. The movie guys, Steve and Andy, thanks so much. Look forward to your review of Ray.